It's late morning, so I will say good afternoon. I have my cheat sheet right below me so I can try to stay on point because I feel this is an important subject, especially for new widows and widows going through their first year of loss. For anyone who's just clicking in, my husband committed suicide after 5.5 years of declining health and illness. I wanted to talk about the emotional aspects of that loss from the beginning to the point of where I am now at 1 year. So I was looking at the 5 stages of grief as written by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Originally, that book, Death and Dying, was written for those in the process of dying. But later, a collaboration would come from another writer, and it would be taken and put into the aspect of those that are grieving a loss. These stages don't necessarily come in order, and you don't necessarily get them all. Everybody's different. Everybody grieves differently. But I'm going to use those 5 stages to talk about what I went through from the beginning until where I'm at now. The first one being denial. I was so stunned. I tried calling him twice. He was really bad the days before, having trouble at the end swallowing, and I was afraid that he may have collapsed when I called him and he didn't pick up the phone. So I waited, and when I was closer to home, I called him again, and there was no answer, and I knew something horrible had happened. I got home and I looked around for him, and I couldn't find him in this teeny tiny under 800 square foot trailer. Finally, when I peeked my head in his bathroom again, I realized that the shower curtain was closed and there was a shadow of darkness behind it. As I approached closer, I saw his slippered feet, and I saw little specks of blood on the wall of the shower. How do you explain how you feel in that moment? Denial came, possibly from the moment that happened. I ran to the kitchen and looked in the drawer where I kept my gun for protection, and it was gone. It wasn't in the drawer, and I knew. Groceries in hand, I just set them down on the floor, and I just stood there. I just stood there. I went back in the bathroom and I called him loudly over and over again, and nothing was stirring. I just knew. I can't explain it any other way. And then I just didn't want to deal with it. So I grabbed my purse, I locked the door, and I drove to my son's, he was at that time 8 minutes down the road. It's so hard to relay to you the shock. I just completely checked out, I think, mentally. I just checked out. My son was like, "We gotta go there, Mom. He might still be alive." And I put my hand to him and I said, "No, leave him alone." I didn't want anyone poking, prodding, trying CPR. The police said it was instant. And I knew. But then, the next morning that I woke up, You know, you go to bed really, really late. You're trying to comfort your children who are just stunned. And I finally got to bed sometime well after midnight. Woke up at about 5, and I just sat on the sofa looking at his empty chair and thinking, this has got to be a bad dream. I'm going to wake up. Maybe that was my way of denial. This didn't really happen. This isn't really happening. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go back to 2015 when he wasn't sick like that. Anger. I already got the I hate God syndrome as I watched my husband decline and lose weight. And that year, from January 2021 until he took his life, it was a combination of trying everything we could to keep him alive, to keep him from losing weight. He was losing 2 to 3 pounds a month, and he was already frail. That sense of, there's miracles. A miracle could happen. Again, denial. Sometimes I'd say, maybe it is mental illness, because that's what his family was saying. Maybe he's just really depressed. He's going to snap out of it. He's going to start to eat more. And all of these symptoms that he has are just going to go away. I still prayed, but I didn't believe in my heart. I was angry. I'd snap at God because I talk to myself a lot. I talk to God. I talk to whoever I think might be listening to me. Bargaining. My sense of bargaining was, please let me wake up. Please let this be a bad dream. Then the other thing came to me. Can't I die too? Can't you just take me too? Depression. I slept. After the first few days, I just slept and slept and slept. And when I wasn't sleeping, I'd just sit in the chair, staring at his chair, maybe listening to sad songs, looking at photos. I didn't want to be with my family. I didn't want to go see any of them. I just wanted to be left alone. But at the same time, my children were suffering, full of sorrow and sadness. Memories, things that remind you of them, are so horribly painful, like a sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach and soul when I think of those memories. And I remember what we were together. The good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, like I said before, Dennis was no saint, neither was I. And he had his really nasty parts, and so did I. But despite all of it, we loved each other. We relied on each other. We depended on each other. We were each other's best friend. So I guess that brings us to acceptance. Eventually, all of the misery, the sorrow, the sinking feelings, they break through to the feeling of, this really did happen. It really did happen to me, and it really did happen to him. And he's not coming back. My hope, being brought up as a Christian, is that I'll see him again. That I'll see a young, strong, new Dennis and I'll be a young, strong, new Nikki. And together we'll fly off to distant places and do whatever God has us to do. My dear sweet friend Bruce, my mentor and my spiritual advisor, who passed away in June, always said to me, Nikki, acceptance is the key. And it truly is. We might not like the outcome. We're probably going to struggle with the days and the weeks, the months and the years to come. But we know we're going to be all right. We come to that place where I miss you so much, Dennis. And I'm so sad that you're not going to be with me on my grand adventures. But I'll see you. I'll see you in the sweet by and by. And the last thing I wanted to say was try not to cry because it's over. Try to smile because it happened. They happened. We happened. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.